Everybody, this is Joel from Moving to Mexi.co. Bienvenidos a nuestro canal and bienvenidos a Casa Victoria, Villas Victoria. This is one of the very first properties that we bought here in Bucerias. If you're coming to Bucerias, you want to visit us in Bucerias, drop us a line at info@movingtomexi.co. Use the code Bucerias25, and Jillian's going to give you a 25% discount to stay at Casa Victoria. What do you think, Paul?
That sounds good.
Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Anyways, I am really excited about this video you're about to watch. So please don't leave, and just do me one favor. You got to watch it from the start to the finish. This is about a time when we went to Puerto Vallarta with the Moving to Mexi.co team, as well as some very good friends, and we spent an incredible weekend at what I consider the number one place in the world to put on your bucket list to go spend a few nights, and that's Hacienda San Angel, where we met Paula Chatterton, where we did a very down-to-earth interview with her. Now, Paula came into owning Hacienda San Angel when her mother passed away, and her mother was a really well-known fixture in Vallarta, and her name was Janice Chatterton, and Janice had bought this beautiful property from the late Susan Burton. So it was Richard Burton and Susan Burton that owned this property. Anyways, in the interview, you're gonna learn a lot about the history of Hacienda San Angel. You're gonna see some really cool things about it. Our amazing camera guy behind the camera, Paul. Paul, the video that you took on the Hacienda San Angel was just off the charts, man. Some great drone shots of all the different rooms. Honestly, when you watch this video, you're gonna wanna stay there. And please listen to the interview. I watched it the other night and literally watched it twice and had tears to my eyes. Like, tears came to my eyes both times, just because, I don't know, everything Paula was talking about, you know, just kind of like it just resonated with me. And you could just feel that spirit and energy and the Hacienda. And anyways, watch the interview, watch the video.
And Boomer's in it.
Hey, Boomer, how's it going? Buenos dias, muy buenos dias. We got Boomer the dog. He is in the video.
Yeah.
So look for Boomer the dog in the video, and yeah, watch it from start to finish, because in the next week or two, you know, we always do these kind of interesting ways to draw the week stay in Bucerias. Well, this video is going to have some clues that you're going to have to remember. So maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll add that as a bonus, and rather than having to come back and watch it again, if you watch it right now, you'll be able to remember probably a lot of things, and you'll get that answer super quick. Without further ado, enjoy this video, the interview, and everything that is magical about Hacienda San Angel in Puerto Vallarta. Good morning, everybody. I am here with Paula, the owner of Hacienda San Angel, and I have to say, this is one of the most beautiful boutique hotels I've ever stayed in all of the world. And my wife and I have traveled quite a bit, you know, throughout our journey together, and we've stayed in some pretty magnificent places. This is our second time here, and the first time was back in August. We came to celebrate our 20th year anniversary. And Jillian's always been telling me, you gotta take me to either Casa Kimberly or Hacienda San Angel. And I'm like, okay, well, one day we'll do it. And over the time, I always looked at maybe doing it at her birthday on a New Year's Eve, but you guys have always been really busy because her birthday is December 31st. So I almost did it last year and then didn't quite work out. And I'm like, I'm gonna make this happen. So I surprised her under the guise that we were driving to Guadalajara or somewhere. And all of a sudden we pulled up here and we had this wonderful 3-day stay in the nice suite, the San Miguel de Allende suite, or is it just the San Miguel suite?
Miguel Suite.
The San Miguel Suite. So during that 3 days together and spending, literally, I think we were the only guests because this was in August. We were
Yeah,
just
you
kind of like
had it all to
reopening.
yourself.
We had the entire place to ourselves. We explored every nook and cranny, and we were kind of on this staycation
Right.
kick. Like we were trying. Normally we go back to Canada every summer, but we decided let's just stay here this summer and let's explore Mexico. So we started trying to explore places within, let's call it an hour and a half drive of where we're living, and we live in Bucerias. And I thought, you know what, we have to come back and feature Hacienda San Angel because it's just so. The word that came to my mind was it's just classic. Like there's something just not only classical about this place, but just magical, right? And
I think
I
that's
thought,
probably what my mom was shooting for when she was creating the hacienda. Yeah.
So tell me more about your mom, because you came into owning the hacienda last year when your mother passed away, but she is responsible, like 150% for everything that's created here. Tell me a little bit about how that became and how she started it.
You know, it was a long process.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight.
Yeah.
And I don't even think my mom was thinking about creating a business. She was really just kind of feeding her soul. My mother actually created the Hacienda San Angel and Casa Kimberly and La Capella before she passed away. My brother passed away a little more than 20 years
Okay.
ago, and my mother was absolutely devastated. And so instead of just coming part-time, which she did every year,
To Vallarta, so she was always
she came
traveling.
here
right? Okay.
permanently, and she poured her grief into her two biggest passions, which were shopping and antiques. And a tour bus came by one day, and they said, "We know that your home used to belong to Richard Burton,
Right.
and our clients would like to see it. May we come in?" She said, "Sure." And she had been decorating her home in all these antiques, and they were wowed, and they
Right.
said, "Gee, you should do a bed and breakfast." And there it began.
And there it began.
And so it was just a process of her enjoying decorating, and you combine that with the dynamic that she was more, she preferred the company of animals more than people.
Okay.
She was also simultaneously creating what's now known as the SPCA.
Right,
For a
and-
long time we called it the Sanctuary.
Right.
And she was rescuing animals, and she ended up actually purchasing her neighbors' homes and integrating them into the hacienda, and so it just continued to expand.
Well, I met your mom, so it was in November 2013, because my daughter was doing volunteer work at her SPCA. And then Adelaide fell in love with this one kind of pit bull boxer / Mexican cross, Boomer. And she's like, "Daddy, I really want this dog." I'm like, "I don't, like, we already have a dog. We don't need more dogs." We have dogs showing up every day in Mexico, right? Like by habit or by virtue of our reality living here, there's always a dog to be adopted.
Right.
So I was trying to like get her off this dog, but no, she wouldn't have it. So I had to go to the SPCA to meet Boomer, and then I met your mom. And then we decided to accept Boomer, but your mom wouldn't let us take Boomer until she did a full-on interview of us and basically gave a stamp of approval. And the funniest thing she goes, "What do you think about keeping dogs on a roof?" I'm like, "I don't think that's a good idea." She goes, "Good answer."
She's had people get so angry with her because she refused to let them take a dog home because she did not approve of their answers or how they were going to take care of the dog. She was really, and actually the older she got, the more rigid she got about that. Yeah. So when my mother passed away last year, it was not expected, and I was actually in shock for quite a while. But the thought of closing the doors, I couldn't even entertain it. It was pretty overwhelming. It was more than a business to me and my family. I mean, my children looked at me and their eyes were this big, and they were like, "Mom, are we never coming here again? What are you gonna do?" And I looked at the staff, who I've been many people have
Right.
worked here for years. There's not a lot of turnover. And I saw the looks on their faces, and I just felt I couldn't close the doors, and it was a daunting task because I actually never thought she would leave this to me. I am the worst person on the planet to inherit a restaurant and hotel. I was a mental health social worker, and I'd been managing a program for chronically mentally ill adults for 15 years in Napa. There are a lot of things about that have served me well here in terms of facility maintenance and, working with staff and having, so there's some dynamics that I've been able to transfer from what I was doing to doing this. So my focus now is just to kind of adjust to the loss of my mom yet still and preserve what I think of as her legacy now, because she poured just literally years into the slow evolution of developing a beautiful place. And then she went on to do that at Casa Kimberly, and she was having fun. She was not thinking about making money, even though she made money. So there's actually 4 sections.
Okay.
I think of the venue as having 4 sections. There's the very front, which was her original home and what belonged to Richard and Susan Burton.
Okay.
And we call that, what they called it, Casa Versus.
Okay.
And there's 2 rooms there in Casa Versus. And then if you go down to this section over here is the first swimming pool that we call that La Jolla. And
Okay.
there's 3 rooms in La Jolla and a swimming pool.
And that's kind of nice. I do see where you're kind
Yeah.
of getting with that. It's
They're
kind
like
of by
little
itself,
villas.
right? Yeah.
She pretty much took 4 villas and connected them. So that's La Jolla. And honestly, I don't know how they got their names. The only one that makes sense to me is Casa Versus.
Right.
This area behind me has 4 rooms. 2 go really high with a really incredible view, and there's a swimming pool. We call that La Luna.
La Luna. Okay.
So that's La Luna. And then there's this section we call San Angel.
Okay.
And that has our presidential suite and 2 other rooms, Angel's View, Garden of Angels, and then there's a swimming pool up there, which you see from the restaurant. So the restaurant, those 3 rooms, pool up there, we call that section San Angel. So we have Casa Versus, La Jolla, La Luna, San
And
Angel.
San Angel.
And each section has a pool, except
Right.
Casa Versus.
So it's a perfect destination too if people are coming with a group or extended family.
Right.
Maybe there wants to be some separation, the families with kids over here and the adults over there.
It has cost a lot of money to put the COVID protocols in place. We have masks, shields, I have sanitizer placed in every section in more than one place so that people can easily access it. Staff are sanitizing between all contacts. So there's just lots, and I could talk about this for a long time actually. There were so many things we had to do, but I don't mind doing it. I don't mind the expense even though it's painful. I think it's necessary. I don't want anybody that works here or comes to visit here to get the virus. I'm doing my best to keep the virus out of this area. I was even pretty rigid about meeting with you and
Right.
wearing my mask.
No, that's okay, right? Like, I mean, I think the way I look at it is everyone has to kind of do what's right for them and what makes them feel comfortable. Well, thanks again, Paula, for having us here for our Staycation Sunday. This was an incredible experience, very memorable for us. And, we came here with a small group of friends, and I could see the joy on everybody's faces when they first arrived, when they first saw how really spectacular, the property is. And then dinner yesterday was, off the charts. Everyone enjoyed a little bit of pool time yesterday afternoon. Like, we really had, the best, weekend together in a long time, and you were a big part of that. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome.